Tarek, so help us understand Egypt's sort of basic orientation, because generally speaking, people have tended to view Egypt as a country that, in some sense, has been part of the containment of Hamas. It was enforcing the blockade in various ways over the last 16 years. It doesn't let Palestinians in. How has it reacted to this attack, the Hamas attack?
Thanks. Great question. Thanks for having me. It's good to be with you despite the quite catastrophic circumstances. So look, the Egyptian reaction to what happened on October 7th is very plain. They've been calling since day one for a ceasefire. You know, one of the, I think, problems, and I think Nick Kristof mentioned this in your earlier segment, is that we've kind of blown past the horrors of October 7th. The Egyptians moved past the horrors of October 7th almost immediately because they felt that they could see what was coming down the pike, which was a massive retaliation operation by the Netanyahu government in Gaza that would yield a humanitarian crisis of incredible proportions, and that would put Egypt under a great deal of pressure. So Egypt, from the very beginning, has been calling for a ceasefire. They've been calling for restraint. They convened, remember, a peace conference in October that didn't yield anything, but was a pretty clear demonstration of what Egyptian intentions were. The Egyptians today are trying to negotiate, along with the Qataris, with Hamas to get a ceasefire in exchange for the release of some hostages.
But there are a lot of people who think the Egyptian government tends to play this game of public support, but privately they kind of want Israel to destroy Hamas.
I think if the Israelis could invent a weapon that would only target Hamas members and leave the people of Gaza and the infrastructure of Gaza intact, I'm sure the Egyptians would sign on to it. But the Egyptians know there isn't such a thing. And if you look at Egyptian conduct, if you look at their public statements, they've constantly been telling the Israelis, be careful, stop. If you look at the statements of the Egyptian Foreign Ministry, if you even look at the statements of President Sisi, they have been calling for restraint, and I think they're calling for it publicly, and they're calling for it behind closed doors.
But Sisi has been known, for example, to be a very tough